Hi, everybody. My name is Andrew Esparza. I'm the founder of an organization called Kingdom Analytics. We work with schools to help them deeply understand their families. And the way we do this is, sounds scary, but we have thousands of data points on every household in the United States. And the goal with this is how do we use this data for good and to grow our schools better, connect with our families? What's a little unique is that we're pulling data from dozens of different sources. And the reason we do this is to get way beyond just demographic data. As schools, we all know demographics of age, income, ethnicity, education. That's all helpful information for us in understanding who our families are, but only gives us a really small piece of the puzzle. For example, King Charles and Ozzy Osbourne used to have all the same demographic data on paper, but we're two very different individuals. So I want to introduce you to a new concept to start thinking about, a new lens to start looking at your families through, called mosaics. If you have not heard about mosaics before, this is something developed a little bit behind closed doors by the credit agencies. And what they've done is they've taken every American, you and I included, and grouped us each into one of 71 different groups called mosaics. And these you can think of as target markets, personas. These are behavioral groups, not necessarily demographic groups, but there's some trends there. But these are used to essentially put us into buckets of sorts. We're all still individuals, but we're individuals with some similarities. And what this is used almost entirely in the corporate world for is marketing and communication purposes. If you're working at Starbucks and you're coming out with a new coffee drink or smoothie flavor, you better bet they know who their target mosaic or who their target market is. And the same needs to be true for us as schools. The reality is the communities that we are in and serving have very different mosaics, and what's going to work in one is not going to work in another. And who we're attracting in that community is very likely going to be a subset. And what we do is when we partner with schools is we'll look at specifically what mosaics you have represented as your current families and who's available to you in your community. And what I can tell you and what you can be looking out for is you're not going to have all 71. More than likely, and what we typically see nationally as a trend with schools is you probably have three or four mosaics that make up 80 to 90% of your families. And you can start thinking and maybe creating these subgroups of your families and looking at what their preferences are, what they're looking for in education for their child, and what some of the motivations are. So this is a new concept I wanted to introduce to you to start thinking about. There's this world of mosaics out there to explore.